Hello, how's it going? In today's video, I'm covering Fracturing of the Horde and the Cost of War from Chronicle Volume 2. So let's go! So the Horde lost. That's a thing. Hashtag deal with it. Terran Gorefiend and his followers took this news back to Draenor, and that wasn't even the worst of it. After they'd arrived back on their homeworld, the bloody dark portal exploded, so they were now well and truly stuck on their own dying planet. Those orc clans that had been left behind due to their bloodlust were still kind of bloodlusty. Word of the Horde's defeat only made them angrier. It was only a matter of time before the Horde consumed itself from within, which, if you look on the bright side, they won't have to worry about the dying planet if they just kill each other, I guess. The remnants of the Horde still on Azeroth weren't exactly having a great time either. Kilrogg and his Bleeding Hollow clan hadn't made it to Blackrock Spire in time. They saw the aftermath of that battle and stumbled upon some orcs trying to cheese it back to the Dark Portal. However, they didn't make it to the Dark Portal in time either. They're just bloody late for everything. The Alliance had barred the way there, and Kilrogg didn't fancy a suicidal charge, so he pulled his clan back, and they quietly disappeared into the wilds, north of the Gateway. The Dragonmaw hadn't made it in time to Blackrock Spire either. They'd cheesed it back to Grim Batol when they saw the Alliance had won, and barricaded themselves inside. The plan was, continue to breed and train their dragons. If the Alliance ever discover them, they'll be prepared at least. Dalrend, Maim and the Blacktooth Grin clan had survived their battle with Admiral Dalen Proudmoore, but had also been too late to assist Orgrim's forces. However, they managed together with some Blackrock clan survivors, wait for the Alliance to pull their forces out of the region, and then they snuck into Blackrock Spire and regained control of the stronghold. Gotta be honest, sometimes I really do wonder if the Alliance are actual idiots. Well, let's just leave this fortress with tremendous strategic value completely unguarded. That sounds like a great idea, Steve. But anyway, Dalrend and Maim blamed the Horde's defeat on Doomhammer, which is unfair, but they weren't exactly big fans of the guy, considering he'd killed their dad and stuff. It's kind of a wonder they've been following his orders at all, really. They wanted to start a new Horde, one they'd lead, obviously. So they gradually reached out to the other large chunks of Horde survivors, trying to rally them under their new banner. Kilrogg ignored this call. He'd seen his own future, and it wasn't with Dalrend and Maim's false Horde, so they can go suck a bag of dicks. But the Dragonmaw did pledge their support, and they even offered some dragons, if ever needed. There were smaller chunks of Horde survivors too. Some travelled in packs, some were alone. One particular orc of note that was on his lonesome was Eitrig, and he'd had a bit of time to reflect on some things. The Horde's defeat made him start wondering about what Garona had said, about the Horde being manipulated by dark forces. Maybe she wasn't full of shit. Forming the Horde hadn't brought the orcs salvation, it had bloody doomed them all. So he disavowed the Horde and struck out north, hoping to find a place where he could just kinda die or something. Bless him, he's got nothing else to live for. Meanwhile, the Alliance were being a right bunch of smug jerks. There were victory celebrations in every Alliance city. If you think of the ending to like every Star Wars film, probably looked like that. But at some point, the joy kind of faded and harsh reality set in. Everything's different now. War had decimated the Eastern Kingdoms. A lot of people died. Towns, villages, and even cities had been razed to the ground. For every person who'd fought in the Second War, it wasn't really over yet. They were plagued with nightmares, they'd lost close friends or even family. Some would forevermore be maimed and disabled. The battle against the Horde was hard enough, but the struggle to find inner peace was going to be a right ball ache. Turalyon himself was pretty haunted. His mentor, Lothar, was dead. It would have been pretty easy for him to withdraw into himself, but he still had a duty. He'd been promoted to Supreme Commander of the Alliance, so a lot of people now looked to him for guidance and leadership. Plus he had a girlfriend now. He and Illyria Windrunner were bumping uglies, making the beast with two backs, having sexy times. Oh yeah. Turalyon knew the key to restoring normality was to rebuild the Eastern Kingdoms. So he gathered the Alliance leadership in Lordaeron and he was like, let's rebuild the Eastern Kingdoms. And the rulers were like, great. They agreed to pool their resources. Obviously Ulterac weren't invited to this meeting, what with them being traitors to their own race and stuff. Special importance was placed on rebuilding Stormwind first for some reason. I think it was a symbolic thing. If Stormwind could rise up from the ashes, then bloody anyone could. King Terenas pledged to aid the fallen kingdom and support Prince Varian Rin's ascension to the throne. Some people were pleased by this, like Varian for example. He was pretty pleased. Others were not so pleased. A lot of Stormwind refugees were kind of done with their old city. Returning there would probably bring back too many painful memories. Whilst Turalyon helped Varian, his fellow paladins helped in Lordaeron. The Order of the Silver Hand worked with the Church of the Holy Light to heal the sick and grant shelter to those who were so broken by the war they could no longer care for themselves. And we're leaving it there! Well, that was a bit of a downer. In the next Volume 2 video, the Alliance builds some orc internment camps, and Khadgar discovers a dimensional rift, which is probably nothing to worry about. As always, thanks very much to those of you who support the channel as patrons. Links in the description if anyone's interested in supporting the channel in that way. If you enjoyed this video, like, subscribe, all of that bollocks. And all that's left to say is, thanks for watching, and see ya!